Well, hello everyone. Oh, welcome back. Welcome back. We are rolling. Hello, thank you. Hi AJ, how are you? Welcome to all my Mafians and my new listeners. We have a great show lined up for you I was going to say this morning, but I don't know where you are and what time it is, but we'll say now. We have a great show for you right now. You're listening for your listening pleasure. Going to give a little bit of a teaser today, but we somehow talk about Ferraris and Packard Bell, and then our working from home segment was so well liked. We had a few of our listeners write in and suggest we do an exercising from home, as seems to be, considering a lot of people are working from home now and they exercising from home, and some tips. They wondered if I had any, and I kind of went out and did a little bit of my Tooclevermafia research and brought some great ideas to the table. And if you like them, great. If you don't, just don't hit the dislike button. But if you do like it, definitely head over to our Facebook or our Twitter, Instagram, Discord, YouTube. Like and subscribe. We would love to have you as a subscriber on all of our sites. You can also head over to Tooclevermafia.com, right, AJ? Tooclevermafia.com. On our YouTube channel, you can definitely see some of our behind the scenes. Like and subscribe over there. We're getting a lot of video play. Now that we're on over 7 different podcasts, even more actually, I think. But you can listen to us on any of your favorite apps. We're on Spotify, we're on Anchor, we're on Overcast, Breaker, Radio Public, and Google Podcast, and of course Apple. Like and subscribe when you listen. I'd love to have you, as many of you want to download and listen to this voice as possible. I definitely enjoy that, and I like to see that my work is. A lot of you have given me some great feedback and want me to talk more. Oh, excuse me, I had to hit my cough button there. But definitely, you can head over to Teespring and see all of our merch. We've got our merch, right, AJ? AJ just got a new coffee mug up there with my mug on it. I see it's season 1, the new fresh season 1 style, right, AJ? Yeah, no. It's just a nice clean view of me and my beard. That's my beard when it looked like a beard. Now I look like a one of those guys that live in the forest that doesn't have access to a razor, right? Yeah, well, can't really get to the barber to trim up and, give me the good old sharp lines that I enjoy, right? Yeah. But definitely like and subscribe. Well, we've got a great show coming up for you today, and hopefully you head over to one of our social medias and comment, and hope you enjoy. Sit back, grab some snacks, and listen to the old Tooclevermafia. We'll hopefully keep you entertained for a short period of time with whatever you're doing. I've been mentioning working out at the gym because some of our listeners reached out to me, and I'm not going to say a name because I don't know if they want to be embarrassed or not, but they reached out and said, yeah, I've been listening to your podcast and some of your old stuff and some of your new stuff now at the gym, and it makes the time go faster. And I personally, I don't know if I would listen to that at the gym. I listen to more of a lower, more bassy music, but I can talk a little bit more bassy if that helps. It's like boom, 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 as you're running on the treadmill, right? Like boom, boom, boom. If you're running on the treadmill right now, let's pick up the pace. Boom, 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 boom. I'm just kidding. Don't go that fast. I don't want you to fall off and hurt yourself and then blame Tooclevermafia, right? But I know. All right, AJ. All right. Trying to make these intros nice and short, but I can go on and on and on. But you're going to love our show today. We've got a great show for you. Sit back, grab some snacks, and for now, that's all I have to say about that, my Mafians. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back. This is Tooclevermafia here with you with AJ. Welcome to all my Mafians listening, all my new listeners as well. Just want to remind everyone to head over to our social medias at Tooclevermafia. Social medias meaning Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You can check us out on YouTube. But we're here again. We had a surprisingly great response to our last segment from Working From Home tips. So we're going to continue on with our TCM exercise at home tips today. So exercising at home while we're working at home kind of goes hand in hand with all of us not really being able to get out and about the way we'd like. So we've compiled some tips from our listeners. No way am I a physical trainer or certified, but I can tell you what worked for me, and AJ has given me some tips of what worked for him, and quite a few listeners have responded on certain tips, which has been great. So we want to continue the conversation going on YouTube. We will post this episode on YouTube, and feel free to enter in the comments your tips if we've missed anything. We want to get those conversations going, and some great feedback we're going to get, and the listeners, that you folks out there and my Mafians and have really provided a lot of valuable information to each other, and I really enjoy that, and I thank you all for that as well. So the first big thing that came up multiple times was using these elastic bands instead of weights. Weights take up a lot of room. They're heavy. I know I stubbed my toe in the middle of the night on barbells. I've done that before, and having those things around, they just take up a lot of room. But there's these elastic bands, right? They're resistance training, they call them, and they're these bands with handles on them, and different bands have different tensions to them, right, AJ? And I know AJ wants me to bring it up, but Tom Brady uses them apparently. He's those of you who don't know, I don't know if you're listening to my show and you don't know who he is, but was a quarterback in the football league, professional football league, and he apparently swears by them, I think, AJ, right? Like they're the best thing since whatever. But so that's the first thing. You go onto Amazon, you buy yourself some of these elastic bands, you use them, you work out, get into that routine. Get up in the morning at 10 a.m. after your coffee, or on your lunch break, or in the evening, whenever it works for you, which we've kind of found that different people, even though there's suggested times to work out, different people have that energy spike at different times, and then the lows and the highs, and really working out is when you feel that extra energy, you got to take it and run with it, right? That's what we're seeing here. That's what people are telling us. So when you have that extra energy, go out for a walk for 30 minutes or so, and a run, or wait, do some resistant band training, whatever works for you. That's the first thing, but make it regular. Make it, like I said, you can go out. I prefer walking, right? My knees, my back, they've run their course, right? So, but if you walk, you have to walk longer, right? You have to walk to burn those calories. So you walk for an hour. Those of you out there who can run, and run fast, you do maybe for 20 minutes, you run, right? And it's all about getting that blood pumping, as they say, right? And that seems to be the common thread in all of this. But taking a 60-minute walk or a 30-minute, and I remember one time years ago, I went into a trainer and I said, I joined a gym, right? And I joined the gym and I said, hey, okay, I'm ready to go, weigh me in. They weighed me in and they said, "Dude, Clever, you need to slim down." Actually, it wasn't too. They just said Clever, right? So they said they said, "Clever, you need to slim down." And I was bulked up, right? I really bulked up. I did a lot of eating those chips. The chips and dip were my go-to. And I said, okay, well, I want to be around for a while longer, so I'll watch the chips and dip, and I'll show up to your gym maybe once a week. And I remember this like it was yesterday. The trainer looked at me and said, "Clever, you need to come a lot more than once a week." And I looked at her and I said, well, I was almost insulted, but then I thought to myself, yeah, she was right. So I said, how many times is good? I can come 2-3 times a week maybe. And she's like, no, you need to go into the gym and exercise at least 5 times a week for at least a half an hour or 20 minutes just to get yourself going, but a half an hour more. And I said, again, those of you who are trainers out there, or personal or physical, whatever, you might be certified in this and that. I'm just telling what I remember. Don't know if it was factual from her point of view, but this is what I remember, right? So, but you need to definitely get yourself into a routine. That's number one. And they say it takes 21 days to get yourself into a routine, and it only takes a couple of days, like I think 3 days, to get yourself out of it, right? So you have to really stick to that routine and just put it on the schedule. That's what I do, right? So these are some of the other tips that have come up with some of our users. One of them, let's see, Mickey512 says here, use a step tracker or an Apple Watch and stick to it, watching it daily during the day to hit your goal. Well, that's perfect, right? If your goal is 10,000 steps a day, they say, and I don't know I think that's just an arbitrary number from what I read, but when you feel you've burned more calories than you've earned or have taken in of eaten, then you probably have had a successful day if you've burned more than you've eaten, right? But don't expect to lose weight if you're eating calories and burning the same amount. It's basic math, I think, right? That's how they work. And speaking of the Apple Watch, don't want to do a product placement. I always end up talking about brands, and they don't pay me anything for them. But the Apple Watch always seems to remind me at like 9:30, 10 o'clock-ish, and at night, in the evening, after my day is over and I get up very early and before the sun comes up most days, if you get out there and you get a nice 30-minute brisk walk in, you might hit your step goal for the day, or your activity goal, whatever it is. And that, to me, folks, is the most that's like one of the crazier things that this watch does. It does a lot of great things, but I am not, at the end of my day, you're reminding me right before I'm going to bed, get out there and go for a walk. It should have told me earlier, right? It should have said, hey, at noon, hey buddy, you're off track here by about 75%. You need to make the next hour, you need to do an extra 20% of walking or something like that. I think the math and the reminders that they do need to be updated just a little on those technologies. There's also a Fitbit somebody talks about here. They said, get a Fitbit. It's good for exercising. I haven't had much experience with the Fitbit, but I would imagine that's a pretty good. I hear some things. What else we got here? Oh, basic military stuff here. We got a Marine 641 here. Says, do basic push-ups, sit-ups, and planking. And don't forget the jumping jacks. Well, that makes perfect sense. Push-ups, sit-ups, planking. I'm not really too familiar with the planking part. I do know that planking, some of our users here say that planking is a great full-body workout. I don't know how long you have to do it. I pretty much feel if I get on the ground, I'm not going to be getting up anytime soon, so I probably won't be planking. Is that the same thing when years back, people just laying on random things? I mean, this is, I don't know how many years now, maybe almost 10 now, right? But maybe. I know here we are in 2020, I don't know, but yeah, that's what it is. Okay, well, I guess that, oh, no, he says, okay, what's it? Okay, oh, you're in a push-up position, and then you lean on your elbows, and you kind of keep your body stiff until you start shaking, and then you crash. Okay, well, doesn't sound like fun for me, but if you're in the military, maybe you enjoy that type of exercise. Push-ups, sit-ups, obviously the old standbys. And don't forget the jumping jacks, because I guess the jumping jacks do help with the cardio, right, AJ? They get your blood pumping again, which is what we talked about earlier. So now these are basic at-home tips. This is not a fitness DVD of any kind. But the next tip here says get your favorite videos or DVD. So for workouts. So if you're doing that stuff, then get out there and get your favorite DVD, or you probably could watch something on YouTube. I'm sure there's exercise channels. There's everything on there, including the Tooclevermafia podcast, or videos, by the way. There are Tooclevermafia videos up. AJ has posted a lot of them, and some other videos over there as well. But don't want to get into that really right at this moment. But exercising home tips. So let's continue this conversation over on YouTube. When the episode will post, let's get the comments going. Give us some more exercise home tips. All our users would love to hear from you. If you have any questions, feel free to email us. You can check us out on our website at tooclevermafia.com. Hope you've enjoyed this little segment of the TCM tips. Nope. Okay, he doesn't. Okay, AJ is telling me we're going to just keep it as the exercise at home tips and drop the TCM because that's just too modern. Okay, well, we're trying to be modern, AJ. We're doing all of this with all of this equipment, and we're trying to be as modern as possible, right? So, but yeah, definitely feel free to drop us a line, join our social medias, and we will be right back. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back again. Thank you, AJ, for that another great intro. So today we're going to do another segment of our ad copy, and today's featured company, now which would have been an advertiser back in our day, but not anymore, is Packard Bell. Do you remember Packard Bell, AJ? No. Well, I used to have a Packard Bell computer, but they made computers, amongst other things. They go way back to 1933. That's crazy, right? That company back to 1933. They used to make computers and I remember Packard Bell used to be a big thing at one point, and oh boy, this must have been the early 1990s. They were selling Packard Bell computers to the retail consumer, and I remember there was a store called Service Merchandise, and they sold most of their items. It was a catalog, kind of like Sears, right? But then you'd go into this little showroom and you would look through a catalog, pick out what you want, go up to the cashier person and say, hey, I want this item, and the item would come down a conveyor belt shortly after. You'd pick up your item and you leave. Great system. Then I think they went to more of a showroom type of setup where they had, basically a store with items around, and then you want that item, you would then go and you'd pay for it and order it and kind of cash and carry, and then that was a different thing. But what I remember from those days was Packard Bell had a setup, and it was like the fanciest computer, and it had a 2 gig hard drive, and yeah, I know, one of our episodes are 2 gigs. I know, so, but, and that was not including, the 2 gig hard drive included the operating system, and it was a Windows operating system, right? And had this huge, big box computer and a big square, what they used to call those CRT monitors, the big square monitors with a tube, and it was basically a huge television, and had 256 color screen. It was definitely not HD. There was no HD back then. You were lucky if you didn't get the blue screen when you turned on the computer. Remember you don't remember, but the blue, those of you who do, the blue screen would come up and your computer was completely defunct at that point. Well, anyway, Packard Bell started back in 1933, and then around 2000 or so, they joined with a company called NEC. This is a little history lesson, by the way. They joined with a company called NEC, who also then sold computers as well. But then in 2008-ish, I believe, they became part of a company called Acer. Now, Acer, you may have heard them. They're more of a modern name, and they sell computers and whatnot now as well. Right? You've heard of Acer? No, you haven't. Well, there was... it also involved gateway computers. Now, do you remember gateway computers? Gateway, all of this is kind of intertwined, but gateway computers, they used to have like a cow imprint, with the kind of polka dots, but like a cow kind of thing. Then they actually, at one time, Gateway opened up stores. They used to be a mail order company, kind of like Dell is, or Dell was, I don't even know. The computer industry continuously has changed in the retail environment, right? But, so then they had that whole kind of mix in with all of that, and now, from what I understand, I believe a lot of these companies in their name, right, are in production, but in different parts of the world. Yeah. This is what I understand it to be the way it is. But I remember Gateway. Gateway was funny. I had one of my nephews was going to work for Gateway, and Gateway I remember him getting a job in the Gateway retail store, and they were going to be, we'll give him, and they worked on something called a draw, which those of you who might be familiar with it or not, but those of you who are not, it was basically you sell a certain amount of product, and then if you hit those numbers, you've hit your draw, and you get a certain amount of money anyway. But then if you don't hit your number, or you don't hit the amount of items you're supposed to sell, then you end up with, you owe the company money. So it was a win-win for the company. But I guess Gateway couldn't sell enough computers, at a good price to keep things running. And and a retail store costs a lot of money these days, and even back then, and rent and employees and a lot of overhead. Our only overhead is really you right now. Right, AJ? We can get rid of that and trim the budget in half. Right, well, not in half really, but anyway, getting back on target. Yeah, so Packard Bell was this company, and they had the, not to be confused with Hewlett-Packard, right? Hewlett-Packard is a whole different ball game. But yeah, Packard Bell was, they were the bomb. They were that computer that people went, and there was that fancy car in the showroom when you saw that computer in the store. You really wanted a Packard Bell. And then shortly after that, I think people started realizing, a lot of companies popped up and said, hey, you can build your own computer for half the price, and it can be twice as good, and you can put all the parts and you wanted it. It's kind of like, instead of buying a Ferrari, you could say, I can build you come to my company, you pick out all the parts you want, we'll build you a car just as fast, similar wheels, similar engine as a Ferrari, but for less money. But what they didn't tell you is, when you take a Ferrari engine and you put it in what car should I use here? I want to be really careful. I don't want to lose any sponsors. But when you put a Ferrari engine in a car, let's say, this is tricky. This is, AJ, I might be stumped here. What kind of car are you saying? Like a Honda? No. Hondas are good cars anyway. I like Hondas. Let's just call it a tiny car. When you put a Ferrari engine in a tiny car, what were those cars, AJ, that you could start with a screwdriver? Do you remember what they were? I'm drawing a blank. I am drawing a blank on the cars you can start with a screwdriver. Do you remember those? No? Yeah, there was an actual car that you could start with a screwdriver. I remember that car. Hold on a second. Let me look it up here. Car. I might get flagged for this. Can start with. Sorry, my typing skills are not that good. Screwdriver. Okay, let's see here. Sorry, folks. Try to edit out the keyboard strokes. Oh boy, this came up with a lot of how to steal a car things here. Oh boy, Mazda. No, could you start a car? Oh boy, I don't think it was a Mazda what I was thinking of. But anyway, we're getting way off track here, and I don't want to take up more of your time than I have to. But you could, when you bought a computer, you would put these really high, heavy-duty parts sometimes in a frame that was very weak, that couldn't handle those parts. So you can get those of you who don't know, I'm very familiar with computers. I like to call myself medium tech. But back in the day, I did know my way around a computer, and it was, you have your motherboard, which plugs everything into it, right? And then you have your hard drive, which is kind of like, we'll say your file cabinet, right? Maybe not the best analogy, but it's your file cabinet where you store all your data, and then your files, and then you have your RAM, right? Your memory, which is kind of like if you had a desk, it's the desktop. It's like how much stuff you can put on of your files you can put on it all at once and work with at once. And then there's some other parts, you have your there's a graphics card, right? Yeah, your graphics card that displays the video. So the better your graphics card, the better you can play a game. It will run faster and smoother in your video. then there's obviously your sound card, right? So your sound, it plays all your sound, and then your what else do we have in the computer? Power supply, obviously, right? And then you have your little tower thing that it sits in, and I'm sure there's a modem of some sort, right? Back in my day, it was like 36K modem, and that was the good one. Then I remember, oh boy, I remember this. It's getting a little off track, but as I remember it, I got to tell you while I remember it, because I'll forget it in 2 minutes. There was a 56K modem, and when that came out, we had blazing fast 56K downloads speeds. So if you wanted to download a music song, which back then it was kind of an iffy business, but if you downloaded a music song, you can go from downloading it in 7 days to probably 2.5. It was amazing. So in 2.5 days, if the file wasn't corrupt when you got it, you can download a music song and listen to it. So that was something amazing, right? That was really something amazing. And but anyway, getting back. But you if you mix really good parts with really not so good parts, things tend to go wrong. And with computers, there's all of these drivers, which are the directions that tell your computer or your operating system how to work with all of the other items within your computer. So there's a lot that has to go together. So when you buy a Ferrari, right, you know the Ferrari engine is going to work with the Ferrari wheels, the Ferrari controls, the shifter, the transmission, all good for a Ferrari. But when you put a Peugeot, or is that the car, transmission on a Ferrari engine, one of them is not going to be able to keep up with the other. So basically, we've gone way off the rails, as we usually do on this show. But this is, really was supposed to be about old Packard Bell, and we ended up talking about Ferraris. We never know where we're going to go, right? That's the fun of the show. So we will be right back after this short break. I was going to say after these short messages, but we're not going to go into commercial. We're going to go right into the next segment. Okay? We'll talk to you in a moment, my Mafians. Well, hello, everyone. Tooclevermafia is back. We have had a wonderful day here. Who would have thought we could have put Packard Bell and Ferrari all in the same podcast episode? I would have, considering some of the crazy stuff we've done. Hopefully you got a lot of information out of the exercise from home segment that we've done. We really put a little research into that more. I made AJ work a little bit of overtime, but we want all our Mafians to stay healthy, as well as you new listeners out there. But don't forget to drop us a line over on the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, YouTube. Give us the likes over at Tooclevermafia, at Tooclevermafia, T-O-O Clevermafia. Everyone should know that by now. Or you can visit us over at tooclevermafia.com. Check us out on YouTube. There's a lot of behind the scenes, and that's where the conversation's going for our YouTube, our podcast segments. We're really going to talk a lot about the episodes, critique them, if you will. I really appreciate the criticism, and both positive and negative. We want to improve the show, because without the listeners, we don't have a show, and we really enjoy producing it for you and want to bring you the content that you want, right? So thank you for listening us on all of the different podcasts. I always get confused. Podcast applications. For some reason, I want to say reader, AJ. I don't know why. But maybe my old medium tech brain wants to resort to something about technology and reader. Anyway, we're not going to get on that train right now. We're going to stay on the track. Right? Head over to Teespring. You can get all the great Too Clever Mafia merchandise if you wish. And please, if you like our show, we would love to have your support along with the other Mafians over on Patreon. And you can, every little bit helps keep our show funded. And we have got some great interviews coming up. Some are already in the editing process, right, AJ? Yeah, that we've done. And some great, really interesting interviews that you are not going to want to miss. And we'd love to bring you that content. So if you can help us out at the show, we'd really appreciate it. And you might end up being a guest on our show if you'd like to be, right, AJ? We have some spots open in the next couple of months, and really want to bring as many people on board to our Too Clever Mafia community and get as many Mafians listening to the show as possible. So I hope everyone enjoyed their time today. And listening again next week. Next Friday, we hope to post another new episode, and we will be signing off. We'll be signing off, right? Yeah. Anything else, AJ? No. Well, we're trying to get AJ hooked up. Actually, AJ wanted me to. I'll let them know, AJ. So, real quick before we go and we sign it off, AJ has really been spending my money buying equipment, delayed in shipping and getting some of the equipment, but we have got some new tech coming in. According to AJ, we got a great soundboard. We got some great new tech coming in, and we're going to implement that in our show. We're going to be able to call callers. Take live calls and be able to do some on-air live surprise calling some of our guests on the show and some of our listeners. So join our social media so you all can be a part of that. And this is Tooclevermafia, and that's all I have to say about that. Have a great week.